There are moments when something familiar returns to you, and you realize it's arriving differently than it did the first time around. This snowfall was one of those moments for me. The trees were covered, the woods felt held in place almost, and everything noticeably slowed in a way that made it easier to notice what was already there. Growing up, I lived on a 200-acre farm. From the outside, that probably sounds like an expansive childhood. A lot of space, a lot of land, basically the freedom to roam. From the inside, I have to tell you it felt very different. You see, I was an only child, and isolation settled in early. When I was just 1 year old, my birth mother left, and my father and I were on our own. He worked the farm, and he took on other jobs too, and he did what he could to help keep us afloat. That meant he was often exhausted. It meant there wasn't much extra capacity for teaching. It almost feels funny to say that, because it was so far from where he was. But it was also challenging for him to have the patience or to help me develop a relationship with the land that we lived on. So the farm wasn't a place of wonder for me. It was a place that felt heavy. It was a place where I learned how to be on edge, how to stay alert, and how to manage uncertainty in my body. The truth is, I didn't come away from that time with a sense of belonging to the land. I came away with distance from it. Now I'm in my 40s, and I live on a much smaller piece of land. I have room to grow a few things. I have room to tend to those things, and I have enough room to make choices at a pace that fits my life as it is right now. So I've started 4 gardens, plus a couple others. I have built a greenhouse. I keep a room full of plants alive through the winter months here in New England. And I'm thinking about adding goats or chickens in the future. But I'm letting that decision unfold slowly. To maybe put it in musical terms, this is what I might call farming in my own register. It's become more about growing food for my family, and it's also about learning what gives me energy when I work with my hands. It's certainly about sharing what we grow with neighbors and the people who are close by. And it's often about letting curiosity lead instead of pressure. As neighbors who are walking by often begrudge me for, I work mostly with hand tools. This includes a hand mower, not the type of hand mower that plugs in or that you put gas in, but one that has blades that spin as you push it. I move soil manually. I pay attention to what grows well where it's planted. I learn by doing. and I allow myself the space to get things wrong without turning that into a verdict about who I am. And that matters more to me now than efficiency or output. There's something healing about returning to a place that once felt unwelcoming and discovering that it can hold something different when the conditions change. Now, of course, the past doesn't disappear, but what's important now is that I'm the one shaping the environment. As I tend the land where I now live, I notice many parallels in myself. How much environment influences what we're able to become, how pace affects trust, how learning works better when fear isn't driving the process. And this recent snowfall has me realizing that even the snow helps me see those things more clearly. It softens the edges of everything, and it covers old marks without erasing what's underneath. And in that covering, it makes room for a different kind of attention. So much of the effort that you'll see me undertake here in these videos is me reclaiming something I didn't have access to earlier. And it's important to me to say that I'm reclaiming these things without trying to rewrite what happened long ago. But this is me choosing how I want to grow now.
Hey friends, I wanted to share one more thing before we wrap up. It's still cold and snowy out if you can't tell. But alongside all of the work that I spoke about with the land, I've started writing a couple of fiction books for the first time in my life. I've written a few plays that I produced while I was in New York. You might know that from my website. But this is the first time that I'm doing it intentionally to be read and not performed. And so I'm working on one longer piece, and I'm also writing a short story. And the short story is set on the farm where I grew up. So I thought it was a good time to mention that, since I spoke about that here today. And the story is drawn from real experiences, but I'm telling it as a work of fiction. So whatever you call that subgenre. But I'm planning to publish that story, the short story, chapter by chapter, at least for the first few chapters, on my Substack as it comes together. And so if you're interested in reading it as it unfolds or offering feedback along the way, you can find it there. There are already more than 50, maybe more than 60 pieces up on the Substack right now. And it's more focused on reflection, meaning, community is a big one, and how we build lives that actually fit who we are. Nothing there's paywalled, although it is helpful and appreciated if you wanted to join a paid tier. But it's all available to read whether you can or not. And if you'd like to come along for the fiction ride, as it's written, I'll put the link in the description so you can join there. And if not, I'm still glad that you spent this extra time with me at the very end of the video, and I will see you soon. You say hi to Julio if you want. Hi, Julio. Bye.